It is currently the beginning of February, and if you are like me, then you are ready to get some seeds started. And I'm here to let you know that no matter where you are, you can start some seeds right now. So today we have 30 seeds that you can start right now in the beginning of February. So crops 1 and 2 are ones that you can throw on the ground right now, especially depending on your climate, and that is going to be our carrots and our parsnips. Now, these are great cold weather crops, and the colder the temperature is, the sweeter that these will get. Now, starting carrots can be kind of difficult, and so when you put them in the ground, make sure that your soil is moist, sprinkle them on top, pat them down, and put something on top of them to make sure that they stay moist until they germinate. Crops 3 and 4 are going to be our beets and our turnips. Now, these are not the same, but they look quite similar. Now, our beets, you can plant one per hole, just because beet seeds, when they germinate, usually germinate 2 or 3 plants in just one seed. Now, these are great for salads, for preserving, for pickling, and they are extremely cold hardy. So just put these in the ground now, and if it's super cold where you're at, put them in the ground with a hoop cover on them, and you are all good to go. Crop number 5 is one that grows very quickly, and that is going to be our radishes. Now, radishes are super cold hardy, and they take really only about 28 days from seed to harvest. Now, that time will vary depending on how much sun it is getting, but these are very cold hardy, and the colder it is, the less harsh of a taste they're going to have. They're going to be less spicy. So now is a really great time to plant them. Crop number 6 is going to be our kohlrabi. Now, kohlrabi does take about 55 days from seed to harvest, and so it is good to start it now. Now, you can start this indoors and plant it out when it's a little warmer, or you could just go ahead and start it now. Directions say to sow it directly when the ground can be worked, and in February, generally for most people, the ground can be worked. And so kohlrabi is high in vitamin C. It's really great to go in all sorts of different dishes, and it's pretty easy to grow. Crops number 7 and 8 are going to be our herbs, and so technically lavender is a flower / herb, but it's going to fit into this category, and our cilantro. So for lavender, you're going to want to start it now, and if you don't want to put this out right now, you want to start this indoors, and so it is a big enough plant to take out whenever it is past your last frost. Now, cilantro. Here I have 2 different varieties. I have a slow bolt, and I have a normal cilantro. We have moved to using the slow bolt cilantro just because our climate gets so hot so quickly that they tend to bolt very fast. Now, you can start these indoors depending on your climate. We will start these in our greenhouse, but if you have a little bit of a warmer climate right now, go ahead and start these outside. Put a hoop house over them if they need it, but generally these are going to be pretty good to go. Crop number 9 is one that I'm hoping to have tons of in my garden this year, and that is going to be our onions. Now, here I have 3 different varieties of onions. I have our hybrids, I have red burgundy and white Libson bunching onions, and these are obviously different color. This is a white and a red and yellow. I do like yellow onions quite a bit. I think they're sweet, but all of these are great options. Now, depending on the onion variety and where you are at, you can direct sow them in ground right now. But for us, all except for one of these, I will be starting them in the greenhouse at this time and then transplanting them out when it's just a little bit warmer. Crop number 10 is going to be our broccoli. Now, if you have seen my channel, you know that I have had no success growing broccoli before just because our climate gets so hot. And so I am starting them right now in hopes to maybe get them out and get a harvest before it gets too hot in my climate. Now, these are Sun King hybrids, and we have a hybrid because we are hoping that it will be more tolerant to heat this year, and so keep your fingers crossed on. Crop number 11 is going to be our celery. Now, celery takes for freaking ever from seed to harvest, about 125 days. So we are going to want to start those in our transplant blocks right now, probably not much later because it is a cold weather crop. We're going to transplant those out in about 10 weeks or so. crop number 12 is one that I have a huge bag of, and that is going to be our peas. Now, there are many different varieties of peas. These are sugar snap, and so with these you can eat everything, skin included. It's a nice snap. They're very sweet. They're very delicious. However, there are different types of peas, like shelling peas, in which it might be a little bit more difficult to eat the outside of. These are very cold hardy and hate the heat, and so you can direct sow these right now, depending on what your climate is. In our climate, I am going to direct sow some later today, and these will grow through a light frost and produce lots of yummy peas. Now, you want to make sure that you're not doing this too late. On the back of my package, it says that you can go up to April. You can see on the back of this package, I know it's messy, that you can go all the way up to April, and I really just don't believe that. By the time that you direct sow in April, they won't be ready for a month or two, and by then it's just too hot in our climate to have those peas, and they die. Number 13 is going to be our kale, and so here I have a dwarf blue curled kale and a red Russian kale. Now this kale is, it gets quite large and it is quite tasty, and then this one I actually have in a couple of pots, some very small kale, very cute, I think. And both of these are very cold hardy, can go directly in the ground between now and March, depending on what your zone is. So crop number 14 is going to be one that is very common, very delicious, have all year round, whether it's from the garden or not, and that is going to be our lettuce. So here I have an In My Gardener, just a complimentary salad bowl, and this one I think actually was also a free seed from Baker Creek. This is Landis Winter Lettuce. Lettuce is very cold hardy, hates the heat, and so if you're able to put it in the ground right now, a lot of people are, I would do that, and if not, you can start transplants for them and put them out in about 2 to 4 weeks. Lettuce is obviously very cold loving, but it will bolt if it gets too hot, and so now is a great time for us to start our lettuce. So crop number 15 is going to be our cabbage. Now this is an early variety of cabbage just because once again our climate does get hot, but you can start this indoors and plant it out when it gets a little bit warmer, or you can direct seed this and just make sure that it is covered throughout a little bit of a colder spell. So crop number 16 is going to be our Swiss chard. Now Swiss chard is very cold hardy. We actually have some growing in our other bed. And it is basically, it's a collard green. It's really good for cooking and kind of those winter style meals. It does take 50 to 60 days from seed to harvest, so now is a great time to direct sow them if you are able, if your ground is workable, and if not, these make great transplants in a couple of weeks. So crop number 17 is going to be our chives. Now chives are perfect for chopping up and putting in a salad, on a baked potato, just wherever, and they are very cold hardy. They also act as a great barrier around your garden if you have pest problems, if you have animals like deer, skunks, rabbits, whatever. These act as a great barrier. Now you can direct sow these depending on what climate you're in. And you can also start as transplants, which I will be doing. Crops number 18 and 19 are going to be our sorrel and our spinach. Now, if you've never had sorrel or maybe never heard of sorrel, it looks like lettuce, but it is very sweet, very sour. It kind of feels like a Sour Patch Kid or a Warhead that you would get from, Walmart or someplace, except it is very healthy and also very, very cold tolerant, and in some places a perennial as well. Now I also have this spinach. This is Bloomsdale long standing spinach. Spinach can be actually very heat tolerant, and so you can start this now indoors or outside depending on your climate and if you have a hoop, and this will be good for quite a while. So crops number 20, 21, and 22 are all going to be our perennials. And so here I have dwarf tamarillos, I have rhubarb, and 2 goji berries. Now this is a great time to start perennials because they take a long time to establish. Now typically with a lot of perennials you will not get a harvest your first year, and that sucks. And so a way that I try and combat that is by starting my perennials early on in the year and giving them enough time to grow in hopes that I can get a harvest our first year. Now it's time for the fun crops. February is a great time to start our transplants for the warm crop season. And so today I am starting number 23 off with our warm crop, our flowers. So here I have anise hyssop, and this is Bergamo monarda. I don't know how to say this one. Now, not all of your flowers are going to need a full 8 to 10 weeks before being transplanted out. However, these do. And so if you are looking to get some flowers out, look at the back of your seed packets and see what time they need. The anise hyssop needs about 8 weeks, and this one needs 8 to 10 weeks. So now is a perfect time to start those. Another fun one that I am super excited about is our ground cherries. Now, ground cherries actually grow naturally around where I live. They are a native plant. And so I grew some last year, and then lo and behold, my boyfriend's property had like 100 of them. So I don't think I'm going to grow any this year just because we have easy access to them. But these are a great, diverse, sweet treat in your garden. I think that they taste like a mix of a pineapple and a tomato, and they taste better cold than they do warm. This is going to be number 25, one that everybody loves. It's a staple summer crop, and that is our tomatoes. Now, you might be thinking, Katya, this is way too early to start tomatoes. What are you thinking? It's actually not. So a lot of these packets say to start tomato seeds 6 to 8 weeks before your last frost. Now, for me, that 8-week period actually comes next week. And so I will be starting these in February. And I'm so excited for it. I'm so ready for it. I have these varieties and I have a couple more, and I'm just so ready to get that summer garden going again. Number 26 is one that is a little bit lesser known in the United States, used more in international cooking, and that is going to be our tomatillos. They're kind of making their way into a lot of American dishes, and I'm so happy because they taste so good. These are literally like sweet fruit to me. They are so yummy. And you can start these 6 to 8 weeks before your last frost, which for me, again, falls into February. And so I have actually a video of last year's tomatillos, and these did so well, and I will absolutely be growing them again this year. So number 27 is another super exciting one, and that is going to be our sweet peppers. Now, you can start sweet peppers anywhere from 8 to 12 weeks. Actually, we already have some of these started, but for these peppers like this lilac bell, it is the perfect time to start your transplants for it. So put these under a grow light or in a south-facing window, and go ahead and get these started for summer. So number 28 is going to be our hot peppers. So here I have a ahi mango pepper. These are sweet and a little bit of hot, about 25,000 Scovilles, which is very nice. It's a little bit of heat, perfect for cooking or having fresh. And now is a great time to start these. Plant the seeds once again indoors and transplant them out when any chance of frost has passed. Number 29 is one that is actually new to us this year, and I can't believe it's new to us. We've been gardening this is year 3, and I don't know how we haven't planted it yet, but that is going to be our eggplant. Now, these are perfect for sauteing, for cooking. A lot of people like them pickled, and I'm really excited to try them. You can start these 6 to 8 weeks before your last frost, and so I will be starting these in February. And crop number 30 is going to be one that I actually don't have on me right now, but that is going to be our super hots. Now, super hots can be started anywhere from 10 to 12 weeks, and so if you are growing a super hot pepper, now would be your time to start it, just because they take so long from seed to harvest, usually about 140 days. If you start them later than now, you're not going to get a harvest until probably about August, and that's just really not ideal for gardeners that are preserving. Now, I bet you're thinking, why would you have a super hot pepper if you're preserving? Why would you want to preserve that? And the short answer is because it's awesome. The long answer is for seasoning. We like hot and spicy food, and they're just a really great addition to our spice rack to have those super hot flavors to sprinkle into our food. If you learned something from this video, please remember to leave a like and subscribe down below. And if there's any questions or comments or concerns, or you just want to chat, comment that down below as well. And I hope this helped you get excited about growing and what you can start in February.